make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all the exciting content we cover on rare coins and hidden treasures in the world of numismatics. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. A $1 million quarter-dollar coin? How in the world does that even make sense? A $quarter is supposed to be, well, just a quarter, right? Well, stick with me, because today we're diving deep into a coin that's been getting a ton of attention lately. The 1983 Washington quarter with a mint mark that could be worth a fortune. I'm talking about up to $1 million. I can already hear some of you skeptical folks thinking, is this just another coin hoax? Don't worry, I'm going to break it down for you step by step. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why that humble little quarter could be worth a small fortune if you have the right one in your collection. Alright, let's start with the basics. The 1983 Washington quarter was part of the standard series of quarters that the U.S. Mint released from the early 1930s all the way through the 1990s. The coin features George Washington, our first president, on the front, and an eagle on the back, just like most quarters. However, when you hear the phrase, 1983 Washington quarter, you're probably picturing something that looks like every other quarter you've seen, plain, simple, and worth a quarter. But that's where things start to get interesting. You see, for most 1983 quarters, you could just take them to the store, and they'd buy you a pack of gum. No big deal. But there's something special about certain ones, and the reason these coins can be worth so much lies in their rarity, and a few other key factors that we'll uncover. So, what's up with the P mint mark? Well, this is where things get a bit more fascinating. The U.S. Mint has various facilities across the country, and they put a mint mark on each coin to indicate where it was made. For most of U.S. history, quarters were minted at the Philadelphia Mint, the P, the Denver Mint, the D, and the San Francisco Mint, the S. Now, normally, a 1983 quarter wouldn't be all that remarkable. But in 1983, something unusual happened at the Philadelphia Mint that caused a very small group of these quarters to become immensely valuable. Keep watching, because we're about to dive into why these 1983 quarters are so special. A very small group of 1983 Washington quarters were struck with a major error. These coins, which are often called double die quarters, were struck incorrectly due to a problem with the die used to imprint the design onto the coin. Now, what does that mean exactly? Well, when a coin is minted, the design is stamped onto the blank coin using a metal die. For most coins, this process happens perfectly in a single strike. However, with a double die error, the die gets misaligned during the minting process, causing the design to be printed twice, or doubled. This results in noticeable, doubled features on the coin. On the 1983 Washington quarter, this means that the lettering, the details in Washington's face, and even the eagle's feathers on the reverse side show up with a doubled image. If you have one of these coins in your collection, this error could be the reason your quarter is worth so much more than face value. How can I tell if my 1983 quarter has this error? Well, don't worry. Here's the good news. It's actually not too hard to spot these coins once you know what you're looking for. First things first, grab your magnifying glass, or better yet, a jeweler's loupe, and start looking at the details on the coin. Check out the letters and numbers on both the obverse, the head side, and the reverse, the eagle side, of the coin. What you're looking for are signs that the design appears to be doubled. For example, you may see the words Liberty and In God We Trust looking thicker or shadowed, as if they've been stamped twice. On the reverse, you might see the same kind of doubling in the eagle's wings, the tail feathers, or even the motto, E pluribus unum. It's pretty incredible once you start noticing it. The best part? These coins are incredibly rare, and only a few of them made it into circulation. That rarity is exactly why these quarters can be worth such a massive amount of money. How much is one of these 1983p double die Washington quarters actually worth? Well, if you've got one of these rare coins, it could be worth anywhere from $500 to over $1 million, depending on the condition of the coin and how much of the doubling is visible. That's right, I'm not joking when I say this coin could fetch you a fortune. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. If your quarter is in great condition, it'll fetch a premium. Coins in mint state or those with only a slight amount of wear can go for thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars. The more pronounced the doubling, the higher the coin's value. A quarter with clear, noticeable doubling on key details will always be worth more than one with just a slight error. Again, these coins are incredibly rare. Only a few 1983p quarters with this error are known to exist, making them a highly sought-after item for collectors. One of the most notable sales of a 1983p double die Washington quarter fetched over $1 million in an auction. That's a life-changing amount of money, especially considering the original face value of the coin is just 25 cents. If you're lucky enough to find one of these 1983p double die quarters in your collection, you'll want to get it appraised by a professional coin expert or numismatist. They can give you an accurate assessment of the coin's value and help you understand the best route to sell it, whether it's through an auction, private sale, or a reputable dealer. Make sure you keep your coin in excellent condition too, storing it in a protective holder or slab to avoid any unnecessary wear and tear is crucial. A simple 1983p Washington quarter with a minting error could be worth up to $1 million. Incredible, right? If you've got one of these rare coins sitting in your collection, now is the time to take a close look at it. Before I sign off, I want to hear from you. Have you ever found a coin with a major error like this? Or do you have any rare quarters in your collection? Drop a comment below and share your stories. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more amazing coin content. Did you know that a simple Vermont state quarter from 2001 could be worth a mind-blowing $1.1 million? Sounds crazy, right? But it's true. There's a hidden treasure in your pocket right now that might just make you the next lucky coin millionaire. So stick around, because I'm about to dive into everything you need to know about this rare coin, its value, and how you could potentially cash in big time. If you're into coin collecting, you won't want to miss this. Before we jump into the details, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was casually flipping through some old change I had lying around, not thinking much of it. Then, I found an old Vermont state quarter. At the time, I had no idea what I was holding, but I kept it just because I loved the design. Fast forward a few months, and I stumbled across an article talking about this one specific 2001 D coin. And guess what? It was worth a lot more than I thought. If you've ever let a coin like that slip by, you're not alone. I learned my lesson, and now I'm on a mission to share what I've learned with all of you. Let's make sure you don't miss out on your next big coin find. Alright, let's start with the basics. The Vermont State Quarter is part of the 50 State Quarters program. If you're a collector, you probably already know that this was a huge deal for the U.S. Mint. They released one quarter for every state, and each coin had its own unique design. The Vermont coin, released in 2001, features the image of a man chopping wood with a backdrop of the Green Mountains. It's a beautiful representation of Vermont's natural beauty, but most people probably didn't realize there's more to this coin than meets the eye. So what makes the 2001 D Vermont quarter so special? Well, there's an error that was made at the Denver Mint, and it's what makes this coin so valuable. The error is known as the double die obverse variety. Essentially, the engraving of the coin's design was misaligned during the minting process, and this caused the design to be struck twice in a slightly different position. The result is a noticeable doubling effect on certain parts of the coin, like the letters in Liberty and the date 2001. Now, if you're wondering how you can spot this rare coin, here's what you should be looking for. The doubled letters are the biggest clue. If you look closely at the word Liberty and the date, you might notice that the letters seem to have a slight shadow or second impression next to them. It's subtle, but once you spot it, it's hard to miss. The doubling effect is most noticeable on the L in Liberty, and the 1 and 0 in the date. So, if you've got a Vermont quarter, give it a close inspection. You might just have a small treasure in your hands. So, let's talk about why this coin is worth up to $1.1 million. The key here is rarity. Not every 2001D Vermont state quarter was affected by this error. In fact, the number of double die-obverse quarters that made it into circulation is extremely limited. The error wasn't noticed until well after the coins were in circulation, and by then, many of them had already been spent. That means, for a coin to make it through unscathed and in great condition, it's extremely rare. In recent years, a few of these coins have been sold at auctions for astronomical prices, and it's created a lot of buzz in the coin community. If you happen to have one of these coins in excellent condition, you could be sitting on a goldmine. Most of these high-value coins are graded by professional coin graders like PCGS or NGC. If your coin is graded as MS67 or higher, it's likely to fetch top dollar. Speaking of grading, let me explain why that's so important. Coin grading is a standardized system used to evaluate the quality and condition of a coin. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. The higher the grade, the more the coin is worth, especially when it comes to rare errors like the double die-obverse. So, if you think you've found one of these coins, it's a good idea to have it professionally graded to determine its true value. To give you an idea of how valuable this coin can be, let's take a look at some real-life sales. A 2001D Vermont double die-obverse quarter was sold at auction for $1.1 million in 2008. Can you imagine finding a coin like that in your change? Even lower-grade versions of this coin can fetch several $1,000s, so it's not just about finding the perfect one, it's about finding any one in decent condition. Now, let's talk about how to protect your precious find. If you think you've got a valuable coin, the first thing you want to do is get it out of circulation and put it in a safe place. Avoid handling it with your bare hands, as oils and dirt from your skin can damage the coin over time. Invest in some protective coin holders. These can be found online or at your local coin shop. For maximum protection, you might want to consider sending your coin off to be graded by a professional company, as this will help preserve its value. For those of you who've been collecting for years, you know that the thrill of the hunt is what makes this hobby so exciting. Whether it's finding rare coins in your pocket change or hunting them down at local shops or online, there's always that chance that you could discover something worth thousands or even millions of dollars. So, always keep your eyes peeled and never underestimate the potential value of a simple coin. So what should you do now? Start looking through your change. If you haven't already checked your Vermont state quarters, now's the time to do it. And of course, if you think you've got a rare one, get it graded. It could be worth far more than you ever imagined. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more coin collecting tips. Who knows? Maybe the next time you check your change, you'll be the one making headlines with a $1.1 million dollar coin and pulling out a quarter worth over $1 million. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, that dream is a reality for one lucky collector who recently discovered a rare 2003 Illinois state quarter that fetched a staggering $1.1 million at auction. Today, we're diving deep into the story behind this incredible coin, what makes it so valuable, and how you might just have one hiding in plain sight. So grab your magnifying glass and let's get started. Let's talk about the 2003 Illinois state quarter. It was part of the U.S. Mint's 50 State Quarters program, which ran from 1999 to 2008. Each quarter featured a design celebrating a specific state, and Illinois, the 21st state to join the Union, was honored in 2003. The front of the coin, like all state quarters, features George Washington. But the reverse side is where the magic happens. It showcases a young Abraham Lincoln, a farm scene, the Chicago skyline, and 21 stars representing Illinois' place as the 21st state. It's a stunning design, but what makes one of these worth over $1 million? Let's find out. Alright, here's where things get interesting. Not every 2003 Illinois quarter is worth a fortune. In fact, most of them are only worth face value. But there are a few key factors that can turn an ordinary coin into a jackpot. The most valuable coins often have errors that make them unique. Some of the most sought-after mistakes include double dies, off-center strikes, and missing clad layers. Coins graded MS67 or higher are extremely rare. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. Special die variations, misplaced mint marks, or unusual metal compositions can significantly increase a coin's value. If a coin is in high demand and short supply, the price skyrockets. That's exactly what happened with this Illinois quarter. So, how did one Illinois quarter reach an unbelievable $1.1 million? Reports indicate that this specific coin was an ultra-rare minting error combined with an uncirculated, nearly flawless condition. Experts believe it was struck on a planchet intended for another coin, making it a one-of-a-kind specimen. It was initially discovered by a collector who had been searching through rolls of quarters for years. The coin underwent professional grading and was certified at an astonishing MS69, almost perfect. A bidding war erupted at auction, and when the hammer dropped, the final price was a jaw-dropping $1.1 million. Talk about the ultimate jackpot. How can I find one of these rare quarters? Start by inspecting any Illinois quarters you come across, especially those from 2003 with a P mint mark. Use a magnifying glass to spot double dies, off-center strikes, or any unusual marks. Some rare errors involve planchets with incorrect metal compositions. A scale can help you detect an anomaly. If you think you've got something special, have it graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. While the $1.1 million Illinois quarter is a once-in-a-lifetime find, there are plenty of other valuable quarters out there. Keep an eye out for. Some 1965 quarters were mistakenly struck on silver planchets instead of clad. Some were struck on 1941 Canadian quarters. The extra leaf variety can sell for thousands. High-grade versions of these can bring in serious money. There you have it, folks. The story of the $1.1 million Illinois quarter is proof that treasure is still out there waiting to be found. Could you be the next lucky collector to uncover a fortune in your pocket change? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on more coin hunting secrets. And hey, if you've got a rare coin story, drop it in the comments. We'd love to hear about it. What if I told you that a simple 1999 Connecticut state quarter, something you might have in your pocket right now, could be worth a staggering $1.2 million? Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, buckle up because today, we're diving deep into the world of rare quarters, uncovering exactly what makes this coin so valuable, and how you might just have one hiding in plain sight. Welcome to the channel where we talk about coins worth real money and the strategies you need to start collecting like a pro. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button because you won't want to miss any of these valuable finds. Now, let's talk about that jaw-dropping 1999 Connecticut quarter. First, let's take a quick trip back to 1999. The U.S. Mint launched the 50 State Quarters program, one of the most popular coin series in American history. Connecticut was the fifth state honored, and its quarter features the iconic charter oak tree, symbolizing the state's deep roots in American history. But what makes the 1999 Connecticut quarter special? Well, it turns out, some of these coins were struck with rare errors and variations that have sent their values skyrocketing. Now, here's where things get really interesting. One particular 1999 Connecticut quarter has been confirmed to have sold for an astonishing $1.2 million at auction. Why? Because of an incredibly rare minting error that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for. So, what should you be looking for? The biggest giveaway is a striking mistake known as the double die reverse DDR. This means that the design on the back of the quarter, especially the charter oak tree, appears doubled, making it highly sought after by collectors. Look for doubling in the branches of the charter oak tree. Inspect the lettering, especially the word Connecticut and the year 1788. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to spot subtle doubling. But that's not all. Some 1999 quarters were also mistakenly struck on experimental planchets, making them extremely rare and valuable. Aside from the $1 million coin, there are other rare 1999 Connecticut quarters worth serious cash, including coins that were misaligned during minting, leading to an off-center design. These quarters appear dull or coppery because they lack their usual nickel coating. Die cracks. Small cracks in the die can create unique patterns, making the coin more valuable. Even well-preserved, high-grade 1999 Connecticut quarters without errors can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars in top conditions. Okay, now that you know what to look for, how do you check your quarters? Natural daylight or a bright LED lamp works best. A 10x jeweler's loupe is perfect for spotting fine details. Look closely at the tree branches, lettering, and surface texture. A standard quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. Anything different might indicate a rare composition. Check auction sites like eBay, Heritage Auctions, or PCGS for similar coins and prices. So you think you've got a rare 1999 Connecticut quarter? Here's where to cash in. eBay, Etsy, and even Facebook groups have active coin buyers. Heritage Auctions, Stax Bowers, and great collections handle high-value coins. Get a professional opinion and possibly sell it locally. Great for networking and finding serious buyers. Who knew that checking your pocket change could lead to a $1 million payday? If you've got a 1999 Connecticut quarter, it's time to start examining it closely. Let me know in the comments if you've ever come across a valuable coin. I'd love to hear your stories. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next big coin discovery. Have you ever checked your pocket change and wondered if you're holding a fortune? Well, my friends, today we're talking about a coin so rare, so valuable, that it has collectors losing their minds. The 2012 Denali National Park Quarter. A simple coin at first glance, but one special version of this coin is now worth an eye-watering $1.3 million. That's right, what was once just 25 cents could now make you a millionaire. But what makes this coin so special? How can you tell if you have one? And why is the value soaring through the roof? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for. Before we get into the $1 million details, let's take a quick look at the history behind this coin. The Denali National Park Quarter was released in 2012 as part of the America the Beautiful series. It features a majestic doll sheep standing proudly in front of Alaska's towering Denali Mountain. Struck at multiple U.S. Mint facilities, the one we're focusing on today is the Denver Mint version, the 2012 D. Now, let's talk about what makes this particular coin worth $1.3 million. We're talking about a rare error, a striking anomaly, a perfect storm of numismatic greatness. Experts believe that a small batch of these quarters was struck using an experimental die that resulted in an ultra-rare variety. Some collectors speculate that the error occurred during the die creation process, leading to an ultra-sharp, doubled image on the obverse and reverse. If your quarter has extreme doubling, sharp details beyond normal strikes, or a unique surface texture, you might just have the jackpot in your hands. Here's where things get really exciting. Recently, a collector sold one of these rare Denali quarters at auction for, wait for it, $1.3 million. This has sent the coin collecting world into a frenzy, with collectors scrambling to check their 2012 D quarters for similar features. If you think you might have one, your first step is getting it authenticated. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC can certify your coin, giving it an official grade and helping you determine its true value. Remember, condition matters. A flawless, uncirculated specimen will always fetch the highest price. So what should you look for? Number 1. Check for extreme doubling, especially in the lettering and finer details. Number 2. Look at the surfaces. If the texture seems off, that could be a sign of an experimental strike. And number 3. Examine the edges. Some rare errors can affect the coin's rim, giving it an unusual thickness or reeded pattern. The demand for rare error coins is higher than ever. With collectors and investors pouring money into the hobby, the market is booming. And the best part? Coins like this can still be found in circulation, hiding in pocket change, old collections, or even bank rolls. You find an old roll of quarters, crack it open, and there it is, the $1 million Denali quarter, sitting in your hand. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, it's a dream that has become reality for a lucky collector. If you love coin collecting, if you're always on the hunt for hidden treasures, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. We bring you the latest news, rare finds, and expert tips to help you strike it rich in the world of numismatics. Now go check your coins. You might just be sitting on a fortune. And if you find one, let us know in the comments. Imagine finding a simple Washington quarter from 1990 in your pocket change, and then discovering it's worth a mind-blowing $1.5 million. Sounds crazy, right? Well, buckle up, because we're about to explore the mystery behind the ultra-rare 1990p Washington quarter and why collectors are willing to shell out a fortune for it. Let's get started. First, let's take a step back and talk about the 1990p Washington quarter. This coin was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which is what the P Mint mark represents. In 1990, the U.S. Mint produced millions of these quarters for everyday transactions. Nothing too special about that, or so we thought. However, as the years went by, certain quarters from this year caught the attention of serious collectors. Some had errors, some had unique characteristics, and some were in pristine condition. But one specific variety stood out above the rest, a coin so rare that it shattered records in the numismatic world. And that, my friends, is the $1 million quarter we're talking about today. So, why is this particular 1990p Washington quarter worth more than a luxury house? Well, it all comes down to a rare minting error. There are only a handful of these quarters known to exist, and they have a unique double die error on the obverse side. This means the image of George Washington has a noticeable doubling effect, particularly around the eyes, nose, and lettering. Another key feature that makes this coin stand out is its striking quality. This particular quarter was accidentally struck on a 90% silver planchet instead of the standard copper-nickel clad composition. The U.S. Mint had stopped making silver quarters in 1964, so this is an absolute rarity. To top it off, one of these rare 1990p quarters was graded in near-perfect condition, making it a collector's dream. And as any seasoned numismatist will tell you, condition is everything when it comes to coin value. How do I know if I have one of these rare quarters? Great question. Here's what to look for. Make sure your quarter has a P Mint mark, meaning it was minted in Philadelphia. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe and examine Washington's face and the lettering. If you see a distinct doubling effect, you might be holding a rare variety. A standard 1990p quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. If yours weighs around 6.25 grams, it could be struck on a silver planchet. If you suspect your quarter is one of these rare ones, send it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade will confirm its authenticity and maximize its value. Let's talk about the $1 million moment. One of these rare 1990p quarters went up for auction and shattered all expectations. Initially estimated at a few $100,000, the final hammer price landed at an astonishing $1.5 million. Collectors and investors went wild, and this sale officially placed the 1990p Washington quarter in numismatic history as one of the most valuable quarters ever sold. Why did it sell for so much? Simple, extreme rarity, a strong demand among collectors, and a perfect storm of condition, error, and composition. It's the kind of discovery that keeps coin collectors searching through their spare change every single day. Now, you might be wondering, where can I find one of these quarters? Well, the truth is, they can show up in some surprising places. Banks still distribute quarter rolls that could contain hidden treasures. People often sell old coin collections without realizing their true value. Some dealers have undervalued coins sitting in bins, waiting to be discovered. Don't underestimate that old jar of change sitting in your house. Even if you don't find the $1 million quarter, there are still valuable coins out there waiting to be discovered. Here are a few tips for beginner and veteran collectors alike. Always check your change. You never know when a rare coin will pop up. Invest in a good magnifying glass and a coin scale. Store valuable coins in protective holders to maintain their condition. Stay updated on coin values by following auction results and collector forums. Get involved in the coin collecting community to learn from seasoned experts. Coin collecting isn't just about the money. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the history behind each piece, and the stories they tell. Who knows? The next time you reach for a quarter to buy a soda, you might just be holding a fortune in your hands. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. If you found this information helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more coin collecting secrets. Let me know in the comments if you've ever found a rare coin in your change. I'd love to hear your stories. We're diving into a coin that has completely defied expectations. The 2016 P Mint Mark Theodore Roosevelt State $quarter coin. It's not just your run-of-the-mill coin. In fact, this little piece of history has recently made headlines for reaching a jaw-dropping $2.3 million in market value. Yeah, you heard that right. But how did this happen? And what makes this coin so special that it's now worth more than most of our homes? Well, buckle up because we're about to uncover one of the wildest coin stories you'll ever hear. I know what you're thinking. A coin worth $2.3 million? That sounds like something from the future. But believe me, this story has a twist that's grounded in good old American history, the right mix of chance, and a little bit of collector magic. Let me set the stage for you. It was 2016 when this Theodore Roosevelt quarter, part of the America the Beautiful series, was minted. These quarters are a tribute to the national parks, forests, and historical landmarks that define our great nation. And the Theodore Roosevelt National Park in North Dakota was the lucky winner that year. The coin features Roosevelt's likeness on the front and an iconic scene from the park on the back. But here's the kicker. This particular quarter was minted with a P mint mark. Now, most of us are familiar with mint marks, those little letters that tell us where a coin was made. Typically, the P stands for Philadelphia. But here's where things get interesting. The 2016 P Mint Mark Theodore Roosevelt quarter wasn't supposed to exist. Yeah, you heard that right. The U.S. Mint had been operating on the assumption that they would only release quarters from Denver and San Francisco that year. Philadelphia usually wasn't part of the mix. But in a very rare move, The mint accidentally sent out a batch of quarters stamped with a P mint mark. When these quarters hit circulation, they flew under the radar at first. It wasn't until a few savvy collectors started spotting them that the real story began. By 2017, coin enthusiasts realized something very unusual was happening. There were just a few of these coins floating around, and they were getting harder and harder to find. Not only that, but the public started to get curious about their worth. It didn't take long before experts started linking the P mint mark to a special, limited edition, and that's when the value skyrocketed. Now, let's talk about why these 2016 P Theodore Roosevelt quarters are worth $2.3 million. The most important factor in any coin's value is how rare it is. Since this quarter was never meant to be minted with a P mint mark, they're scarce. It's estimated that only a small number, perhaps just a few hundred, ever made it into circulation. This rarity makes the coin extremely desirable for collectors. This coin has a historical story behind it that gives it extra value. It represents not just a national treasure, but also a rare mistake in the minting process that's never happened before. People love a good backstory, especially one with a twist. You'd be surprised at how much the right people will pay for a coin with a special mint mark. Coin collectors are a passionate bunch, and when they see something as rare and unique as the 2016 P Theodore Roosevelt quarter, they're willing to open their wallets wide. And for this particular coin, a bidding war erupted when it came to auction. In 2020, a 2016 P Theodore Roosevelt quarter was sold at auction for an eye-watering $2.3 million. How did it happen? Well, several factors came into play here. The coin had been kept in pristine condition, which is a huge factor in determining a coin's value. Coins that are uncirculated or in mint condition fetch higher prices. The coin's rarity also played a massive role. By the time it went to auction, there were very few of these quarters left, and the ones that remained in circulation were largely worn down or damaged. So, finding one in excellent condition was like stumbling upon a treasure chest. That, combined with the insane backstory, made the coin extremely attractive to collectors with deep pockets. Now, I know what you're all probably wondering. How can I find one of these 2016 P Theodore Roosevelt quarters? Well, I've got some good news and bad news for you. The bad news? You probably won't stumble upon one of these quarters just by going to your local convenience store or bank. Most of the P mint mark coins that were in circulation were quickly snatched up by collectors once they realized what they had. If you've got some spare change lying around, it's still worth checking. You might be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. And who knows, you might just get lucky and find one in your pocket change or in a roll of quarters you bought at the bank. So, if you're out there hunting for this golden ticket of coins, here's what to look for. The coin must be a 2016 Theodore Roosevelt quarter. It should have the P mint mark on the front, just below Roosevelt's neck. It needs to be in great condition, ideally uncirculated or with minimal wear. Don't forget, there are also some special collectors who might be willing to pay a pretty penny for these quarters, even if they aren't in perfect condition. So don't just toss any 2016 quarters you find. Take a closer look before making a decision. So, now that you know the backstory and the value of these coins, you might be wondering what the future holds for the 2016 P Theodore Roosevelt quarter. Well, it's tough to say. Coin values can fluctuate based on a number of factors, including demand, condition, and market trends. But what we do know is that this coin's value has the potential to keep growing. With time, fewer and fewer of these quarters will remain in circulation, making them even rarer. Collectors who missed out on the original bidding wars might be willing to pay even more for one down the road. So if you find one, hang on to it. Now that you know the full story behind this amazing coin, it's time to take action. Check your spare change, head to your local coin shop, and keep your eyes peeled for that elusive 2016 P. Theodore Roosevelt quarter. Who knows, you could be the next lucky person to find a rare coin worth millions. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins and the world of collecting, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more stories and tips coming your way, and you don't want to miss out. And hey, if you've ever found a rare coin or have any cool stories to share, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear about your own collecting adventures.